In a bustling city known as Viridia, there lived a woman named Elara. She had endured 2 miscarriages, an immense sorrow that weighed on her heart. During a time when her husband, Damon, had nothing, she worked tirelessly to support him. But when wealth finally came, he scorned her, taunting her about her weight and abandoning her for his boss. What Damon never understood was that Elara's weight gain was a consequence of pregnancy hormones and a deep, consuming depression, not laziness. This is the story of a woman betrayed, despite all the love, commitment, and dedication she poured into her marriage. The guttural cry of a man shattered the silence of a hospital hallway in Viridia. It was Damon Hayes, his voice raw with anguish, his hands trembling, and his eyes red from weeping. "This is the 2nd miscarriage in less than 3 years," he choked out, the pain so heavy it stilled the people in the waiting area. 2 nurses rushed over, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Sir, please calm down. The doctor wants to speak with you," one said softly. Damon wiped his face with the back of his hand and followed them, his chest heaving. In the doctor's office, he sat with his fists clenched. The doctor, a kind older man, began slowly. "Mr. Hayes, I know this is painful, but your wife, Elara, has been under immense stress. That's why she lost the pregnancy." "Stress?" Damon asked, shocked. "But how?" "The last time she was here, her cervix was already opening too early," the doctor explained. "I told her, no heavy lifting, no stress, no pressure. She was to rest, but she didn't follow the advice." Damon's jaw dropped. "She never told me," he whispered, a wave of betrayal washing over him. "If I had known, I would have made sure she rested." Tears welled in his eyes. "I know she was trying to help because my job wasn't paying enough. Maybe she didn't want to trouble me, but if I had known," his voice trailed off. The pain of losing another child sliced through him. "Please don't blame her too much," the doctor said gently. "She is going through her own pain." Damon nodded weakly and made his way to Elara's room. He found her lying on the bed, her face streaked with tears. "It's my fault," she whispered. "It's all my fault." He rushed to her side. "No, honey, stop saying that. You are not to blame." But Elara couldn't stop crying. She turned her face away in shame. "I should have told you. I should have rested. I killed our baby." Damon took her hand firmly. "Babe, listen to me. You didn't kill anyone. God knows why this happened. Don't blame yourself, please." His voice was soft, and a tear fell onto her hand. Slowly, her sobs subsided. 2 days later, Elara was discharged. At home, Damon sat her down. "My love, from today, no more stress. No more running around. I will take care of us." Elara nodded, her heart heavy, but she managed a weak smile. Meanwhile, Damon tirelessly chased contracts in the construction industry. He wrote proposals, applied for jobs, and prayed for a breakthrough. Since nothing had worked yet, he even took small jobs like serving food at a local restaurant to make ends meet. He was determined to ensure Elara never suffered again. However, after the 2nd miscarriage, Elara's body began to change. The pregnancy hormones lingered, and she started gaining weight. Depression worsened the situation, and she soon stopped caring about her appearance. Food became her only comfort. She ate whenever she felt sad, and she was sad most of the time. Day by day, her body grew heavier. 5 months later, the slightly chubby woman Damon had married was gone, replaced by a much heavier woman with sorrow etched on her face. Neighbors started to gossip. "Look at Elara," some women whispered. "Since she lost that pregnancy, she's become a giant." Elara, however, was numb to their comments. Eating was the only thing that brought her a fleeting sense of peace. One evening, Damon came home after another fruitless day. When he walked in, he saw Elara eating a large plate of food. He dropped his file on a chair inside. Babe, look at you, he said sharply. Do you even care about yourself anymore? All you do is eat and gain weight. Is this how you want to live? Elara froze. Tears immediately filled her eyes. She looked at him with a broken heart, then turned her face away in silence. What Damon didn't understand was that her weight gain wasn't due to laziness. It was a physical and emotional fallout of a tragedy that had shattered her. Weeks later, Damon rushed into their small living room, his eyes shining. Babe, I finally did it. I've registered my own construction firm. Elara's face lit up. That's wonderful. God will bless your work. I need your help, though, Damon said, clearing his throat. I don't have money to hire a receptionist yet. I want you to do it, just for now. Elara's heart softened. She was glad he still needed her. Of course, my love, I will help you. I'm tired of staying at home anyway. From that day, she became his receptionist. She answered calls, typed letters, and stayed late, waiting for him to finish meetings. Months later, when hope was almost gone, Damon burst into the office one afternoon, his face beaming. Babe, we got it. I got the hotel construction contract I've been chasing for almost 3 years. Elara screamed and hugged him, tears of joy streaming down her face. That night, they laughed, danced, and dreamed of a better future. The next morning, Damon left for his meeting in a clean suit and polished shoes. Elara kissed his cheek. May God bless you today, my love. Days passed, but Damon didn't return. Elara waited, growing increasingly worried. She called his phone many times, but he never picked up. A week later, a neighbor whispered to her, Elara, your husband isn't missing. He's staying at the Starlight Hotel in the city. Elara's heart dropped. She took a taxi, her hands shaking as she prayed, God, please, let this not be true. When she arrived at the hotel and stepped into the bright lobby, her eyes scanned the room. Then she froze. There, in the middle of the lounge, stood Damon. He looked different, more confident. His expensive clothes and polished shoes gleamed. But he wasn't alone. A beautiful young woman stood beside him, her hand linked with his arm as if she owned him. Elara's breath caught. She walked toward them, her voice trembling. Damon, what's going on? I've been calling you for days. Damon turned to her, his eyes cold. Elara, since the day I married you, you've brought me nothing but bad luck. First the miscarriages, and now look at you. You've turned yourself into a big elephant, a disgrace to me. How can a wealthy man like me walk beside someone like you? Before Elara could speak, the young woman beside him laughed. My name is Serena. I'm the woman Damon truly deserves. Look at you, big, heavy, and miserable. Do you really think a man with money will waste his time on you? She turned, proudly showing off her curves. Damon's eyes followed her with admiration. Elara felt a sharp stab of pain. After everything I went through for you. I lost my pregnancies because of stress and depression. That pain is why I gained this weight, and now you mock me. Am I lying? Damon asked without a trace of pity. Everyone in the neighborhood already calls you the fat woman. I need a classy woman, not you. Elara's voice cracked. So you don't love me anymore? Just because of money and my weight? Damon smirked. Love doesn't feed a man, Elara. You're a burden now. I've moved on with Serena. My lawyer will bring the divorce papers. This marriage is dead. He pulled Serena closer and kissed her passionately. Gasps filled the lobby. Humiliation burned through Elara's chest. She turned and ran toward the exit, her sobs echoing through the hall. As Elara rushed out, tears blurring her eyes, she nearly collided with a man. He stopped, staring at her closely. Wait, Elara. Is that really you? She wiped her face with trembling hands. Julian. It was her old university classmate, a man she hadn't seen in years. Long time, Julian said with a warm smile. Have you been well? Not so well, she replied weakly. Julian's smile faded as he glanced at Damon and Serena inside. I saw what happened. Was that your husband? Elara choked back a sob. He was, until now. He called me fat and threw me away for another woman. Julian's jaw tightened. Interesting. Because I'm the one who approved that contract for him. Elara's eyes widened in shock. You. Don't worry, he said softly. Stay strong. Everything will work out. Can I take you home? I can't go back there, Elara said, shaking her head. My neighbors are already mocking me. Then come with me, Julian said, his voice gentle. You can stay at my house as long as you want. But what about your wife? Elara asked. How will you explain bringing a fat woman into your home? Julian chuckled. I don't have a wife. You're free. The drive to Julian's house was quiet. Elara stared out the window, her mind heavy with pain. Just hours ago, she was a married woman with hope. Now, she was abandoned and humiliated. Finally, they arrived at a massive mansion with tall gates and a sparkling fountain. Elara's eyes widened in shock. Julian, is this your house? Yes, he smiled warmly. This is my house in Viridia. I have others, too. He stepped out and opened the door for her. Come on, let's go inside. The house was breathtaking, with bright chandeliers and expensive furniture. Elara stood in awe, her tears now a mixture of pain and wonder. Julian noticed Elara sitting quietly, her face heavy with sorrow. You must be hungry, he said softly. I'll ask the cook to prepare something. No, let me cook, she quickly shook her head. It will help me feel better. It will keep my mind busy. Julian raised an eyebrow. You still want to cook, even here? Yes, she whispered. It makes me feel alive. Julian led her into the kitchen, which was huge and filled with modern appliances. As she looked through a cabinet, a women's health magazine caught her eye. She picked it up, and a small spark of hope ignited in her chest. Interested in that? Julian's voice startled her. That book belonged to my sister, he explained. She gained a lot of weight after her second child was born. She followed the steps in that book, and she's completely transformed. Elara's eyes widened. Really? Do you have a picture? Julian showed her a photo. The woman was slim, elegant, and beautiful. She looks amazing, Elara whispered. She worked very hard, Julian said. If you want to try, I can help you, too. Elara was quiet for a moment. My weight, it didn't just happen overnight. After my miscarriages, my body started changing, and depression made it worse. Food became my escape. Before I knew it, I had lost myself. Julian's eyes softened. I could have guessed. In university, you had a fantastic physique. You were one of the most admired ladies on campus. Elara blushed. Life has a way of changing people. I never imagined mine would turn out this way. She smiled faintly through the pain. Maybe it's not too late. I think I'll give these health tips a shot. The first few days at Julian's house were difficult. The pain of Damon's betrayal haunted her. But Julian gave her space, while still being there for her. He told her stories from their university days and reminded her of her value. One morning, she made a decision. She walked into the kitchen, picked up the magazine, and studied it. It was about healthy living, eating right, and gentle exercise. When Julian saw her, he smiled knowingly. So you're serious? Yes, she nodded firmly. Not for Damon. Not for revenge. For myself. I want to feel confident again. That's the spirit, Julian said. I'll support you all the way. Her journey began. It was tough. She switched to lighter portions of fruits, vegetables, and lean protein. Julian even hired a trainer for her. The first days of exercise were brutal. Her body ached, and sweat poured down her face. One evening, after a tough session, she collapsed on the couch. Julian handed her a glass of water. Tired? He asked gently. Very, she sighed. I never knew change could be this hard. Julian chuckled. Everything valuable takes effort. But I can already see a difference in you. You're just saying that to make me feel better, she said. No, I'm serious, he leaned closer. You have a glow now. Not just on the outside, but inside, too. For the first time, Elara blushed. No one, not even Damon, had ever spoken to her like that. She took a sip of water to hide her smile. 5 months later, Elara's clothes felt loose. Her cheeks slimmed down, and she felt lighter and stronger. Each time she looked in the mirror, she no longer saw the broken woman Damon abandoned. She saw a confident woman being reborn. One evening, Julian surprised her by taking her to a classy restaurant. She wore a stunning red gown that hugged her new figure. As they entered, heads turned in admiration. Julian leaned in. You look breathtaking tonight. Thank you, Julian, for everything, she said. For the first time in a long while, she truly felt happy. Months later, Julian invited her to a high-profile business gala. Elara hesitated. I don't belong there. Trust me, Elara, you will, Julian said softly. When you walk in, they won't just look at you, they'll admire you. Encouraged by his words, she agreed. The night of the event, she wore a breathtaking yellow gown that shimmered under the lights. When she stepped out of her room, Julian's jaw nearly dropped. Wow, he whispered. You look stunning. He offered her his arm, and together they left for the gala. The hall was filled with the city's most powerful people. As Elara walked in beside Julian, conversations slowed, and heads turned. She held her head high, her beauty undeniable. Across the hall, Damon sat with Serena. He looked worn, his face etched with stress. His eyes scanned the room and landed on Elara. His brows furrowed. Who is that woman? He muttered. She looks familiar. Serena shrugged. I don't know, but she does. Damon couldn't take his eyes off her. He rose from his seat and walked closer. Realization hit him like a thunderbolt. His mouth fell open. Elara, he whispered in disbelief. Elara smiled calmly. Hello, Damon. He scanned her from head to toe. You look so different. I know, she said softly, her voice calm and proud. Julian stepped closer, his hand protective on her arm. Is there a problem here? Damon swallowed hard. I didn't recognize her. His voice trembled. Elara leaned in slightly. That's because the woman you divorced has grown and become better. Damon froze. For the first time, deep regret stabbed him. He realized he had thrown away a diamond for a piece of glitter. He went back to his seat, staring at Elara. Serena noticed. Why do you keep looking at that woman? Damon forced a laugh. It's nothing. But inside, his pride fought with shame. As the gala came to an end, Julian walked over to Damon's table. Chris, good evening, he said casually. I must admit, Elara has been doing amazing things lately. She's grown into a remarkable woman. Damon forced a tight smile. His heart burned with bitterness, but he hid it. Serena's eyes widened as the truth hit her. The elegant woman Damon had been staring at all night was his ex-wife. She stayed quiet, watching closely. Then Julian dropped the bomb. Elara is my fiancée now. Damon's eyes widened in shock. What? He choked out. He felt dizzy. The same woman he had mocked and abandoned was now standing tall beside one of the most powerful men in the country. He thought she would suffer, but instead, she had risen far above him. Serena laughed mockingly. Don't tell me you still care about that woman, Chris. Damon quickly composed himself. Of course not. I was just surprised, that's all. Just then, Julian's assistant walked up and handed him a file. Sir, the report you requested. Julian flipped through it, then looked at Damon, his expression hardening. Speaking of surprises, Damon, I need to discuss something important with you. What is it? Damon frowned. Your firm has failed to deliver on several key parts of the building project, Julian said firmly. If you don't complete the work in 8 weeks, you'll refund the entire payment. The color drained from Damon's face. Julian, please, you have to give me more time. Julian's tone was cold. Business is business. And from this moment forward, you'll report directly to Elara every week. With that, Julian rose and walked away, leaving Damon trembling. That night, Damon sat in his room, gripping his head in frustration. His once celebrated contract had become a curse. The man who gave him the project was demanding results, and the woman he had abandoned now held his fate in her hands. Serena strolled in. What's with the long face? Damon glared at her. The money is almost gone. We've been wasting it on cars and parties. If I have to refund, we're finished. Serena's face hardened. Don't blame me for your failure, Damon. A classy woman like me deserves all the luxuries in life. If you can't provide, that's your problem. Damon stared at her and saw the truth. She had never loved him, she only loved his money. Just as he had thrown Elara away, Serena was ready to throw him away, too. 6 weeks later, at Julian's company, Elara sat behind a desk, confident and composed. Damon stood before her, nervous and broken. Elara, I need more time, he begged. She raised an eyebrow. More time? What have you been doing with the funds? I miscalculated, Damon stammered. You thought you could waste the money and still escape accountability, she cut him off sharply. This is business, Damon. I won't cover for you. You have 2 weeks left. Deliver, or refund every cent. Her words sliced through him. The helpless woman he once mocked was gone. In her place stood a confident, powerful woman in control. Damon left her office with his head bowed, trembling. He never imagined the woman he once called an elephant would one day hold his future in her hands. Then the worst happened. Just 1 week before the deadline, Serena packed her expensive bags. I'm not going to sit here and watch you go bankrupt, she said sharply, pulling off her engagement ring. I thought you were a winner, but you're just another loser. Damon's mouth fell open. Serena didn't even look back as she walked out. Goodbye, Damon. Find another woman to suffer with you. Damon stood frozen. Karma had come full circle. At Julian's company, Elara sat behind her desk, flipping through Damon's final project report. It was a disaster. Buildings were half done, materials were substandard, and funds had clearly been misused. She sighed deeply and dialed Julian's number. Julian, Damon has failed to deliver. We need to proceed with the refund process. I expected this, he said calmly. Let's move forward with legal action. The next day, Damon received a letter. His heart nearly stopped. It was a lawsuit for breach of contract and mismanagement of funds. His accounts would be frozen, and if he failed to pay back, his properties would be seized. In a panic, he rushed to Elara's office. Elara, please, he begged, his voice breaking. I made a mistake. Don't let them take everything from me. Elara looked at him with calm, steady eyes. When you left me, did you stop to think about how I would survive? No, you only thought about yourself. And now you want mercy. Damon fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Please, Elara. I know I deserve this, but I'm begging you. For a moment, her heart softened. But she shook her head. This is not about revenge, Damon. This is about responsibility. You were given a chance, and you wasted it. Now you must face the consequences. Her words pierced him like a sword. He lost everything. His cars, his mansion, his reputation. The man who once walked proudly now wandered the streets in shame. Meanwhile, Elara's life blossomed. She had transformed not only her body but also her mind and spirit. She became confident, strong, and radiant. Her relationship with Julian grew deeper each day. Soon, the world received the news, Elara and Julian were getting married. On the morning of her wedding, Elara stood before the mirror in a stunning white gown. The woman staring back was no longer broken. She was beautiful, bold, and full of life. She smiled softly. Losing Damon felt like the end of my life, but in truth, it was the beginning. As she walked down the aisle toward Julian, he looked at her with glistening eyes, full of love. In that moment, Elara knew she had not only found love again, she had found herself. Her story of pain had turned into a story of victory.